that any bull is picked up and he takes part in either Jallikattu or in race. Nobody has challenged, and kindly allow me to develop this a little in detail. We have horse races. Any horse doesn't participate in derby or any other race, they on the slope. There is no slope, it's on the plain ground, number one. Number two, the bullocks are trained the way horses are trained. Your lordships have not seen the race or the horse races, at least in the television. They are never even distracted, forget terrified. They are not even distracted. They are trained that way, The training
not hit it, kick it.
Cannot be that prohibited under the rules,
No, but then does it really work on the ground?
It does.
Secondly, is it
only allow me to answer this,
Does it work on the ground? Have you tried it? Have you videographed it? How the races are run?
Yes, my lord. We have the videography.
Causing any kind of pain.
We have the videography, my lord, but if your lordship would like to go through that process for your lordship's perusal. Any documents, my lord, these are all constitutional decisions signed by the President of India. My lord, I would not wish anybody else to see it. There is nothing confidential about it, but there is a sanctity about it. That's all. Now, my lord, kindly, my lord, see. The legislative scheme goes to the extent of permitting not just cruelty but killing, either for food or for sacrifice or, my lord, any other purposes your lordships have seen. So the limited purpose, my lord, within which your lordships may consider exercising judicial review is when the state legislature enacts an enactment carving out yet another exception. Would it per se be repugnant? Because in my respectful submission, even the state would be exercising powers under entry 17 of list 3, concurrent list, and therefore, my lord, I, in my respectful submission, do not think it can be seriously disputed that there is legislative incompetence. The argument at best is both legislatures are competent, but there is some repugnance.
Yeah.
But my respectful submission is, in law, there is no repugnancy at the outset. Because it is only carving out one more exception with the very same condition which the statute stipulates.
Can you say there is no repugnancy?
No, there is no repugnancy would be, my lord. That's something which the parent act says and the state act says something contrary to it. Lord, I am coming to that. Lord, irreconcilable repugnancy is the only test your lordships have considered to set aside. Ancillary encroachment also is permissible, my lords.
No, but the state amendments,
yes, my lords,
in their own right, they would be repugnant. That is why the assent was sought.
I'm conscious of that. We may not travel into the part whether there is any repugnancy or not, because there is an assent, my lord, sought and granted.
Correct.
But, my lord, as a proposition,
you're saying even without the assent,
without assent, also, my lord, what they have done is carving out yet another exception to section 11, which, my lord, permits exceptions for more severe things like killing also. Now, my lord, they have done this. Lord, so far as courts are concerned, my lord, your lordships, my lord, are fully aware. Your lordships would not prohibit a particular activity if there is a statutory enactment in place. Your lordships would, my lord, merely examine the constitutionality of that particular provision and hold whether the provision is otherwise incompetent by the, so far as legislative competence is concerned, arbitrary, discriminatory, classification is reasonable, etc., etc. Your lordships would be able to say that no permissible Jallikattu or any race only in absence of a statute. Once the statute is in force, your lordships would examine the validity of the statute. We are not, my lord, in the era of, my lord, Vishakha judgment, where there is a vacuum and your lordships are trying to, my lord, fill up the vacuum. Lord, having said that, let me, my lord, first, I'll, my lord, give my written submissions, and I have quoted the paragraphs, and except one or two judgments, my lord, I am not going to read anything. I have quoted relevant parts. But before, my lord, I do that, let me point out, my lord, what is the position in the state of Maharashtra, because there is some distinction. Lord, I fully support the legislation of all three states, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, and Maharashtra. But in Maharashtra, my lord, I must, my lord, make one thing very, very clear. The impression possibly, my lord, maybe unintentionally, which is communicated on petitioner's side, that any bull is picked up and he takes part in either Jallikattu or in race. My lord, nobody has challenged, my lord, and kindly, my lord, allow me to, my lord, develop this a little, my lord, in detail. We have horse races. Any horse doesn't participate in derby or any other race. There is a special breed. The breeding takes place, the training takes place, taking care is a separate care taken, veterinary care is taken, and practice takes place. And that is what, my lord, happens in the state of Maharashtra. The bulls which are participating only in racing, there is no human element.
Bulls are trained. Bulls are being trained.
Lord, there is a separate breed. They are not deployed in agricultural activity or as a transport. Like, my lord, a race running horse will not be in, my lord, a horse carriage.
There is a pleading for that.
I'll show that. I'll show that.
Pleading is there.
Yes, sir. Pleadings are there. Lord, we in the state of Maharashtra constituted an expert committee, and there is an elaborate, detailed report on this, which we have placed on record at the relevant point of time. What happens is, this special breed, specially trained and protected for that, Lord, they run the race. The general racing arena is 200 to 300 meters, but the law permits maximum 1000 meters. Not more than that.
1 kilometer.
1 kilometer. That's the maximum permissible, but generally the practice is 2 to 400, my lord, I will say, to be on the safer side, which, my lord, is completed within 20 seconds. Because the expert committee says bulls do run. My lord, it is sufficiently, my lord, elaborated before your lordships in Nagaraja judgment, my lord, several presumptions, my lord, possibly may not have any factual foundation, that bulls are basically by nature not running, flight and fight, my lord, etc., etc. My lord, there are experts which have gone into. Kindly, my lord, now have, my lord, that expert report. My lord, your lordships would find that in volume 2. Well, there is a separate volume, my lord.
Take it.
There is a separate volume, my lord, or volume 6. Lord, can I hand over separately?
Separately, that's better.
Don't take it that I am doing it for the first time. It is already on record. This is only for convenience.
Green.
And, my lord, obviously, I will not read the detailed report. I will just point out, my lord, what they have considered and what are the conclusions drawn. Please see, my lord, report on running ability of bulls. My lord, kindly come to the index, the contents, my lord. And 5. Your lordship gets, my lord, the contents.
Yes.
5. Bull race, custom and tradition in Maharashtra. They trace it, they collect the evidence, and they record their findings. Lord, considering, my Lord, the nature of judicial review which my lords would be my Lord, exercising.
Yeah.
Lord, I am not going into the reading of, my Lord, how they have arrived at a conclusion, etc., because that would be something akin to an appellate power, which my lords, my Lord, if your lordship wish, I can take your lordship through, but that may perhaps not be the scope of the present proceedings. Then, my Lord, 6, recognized native breeds of bovine and equine species of India. Then types of bull cart races or events in Maharashtra, bull races in other countries, races of other animals, domestication of cattle, comparative anatomy of horse and bull. Look, they've gone into this. These are all, my Lord, experts in the veterinary and their respective zoology field. Stress response and adaptation in animals, comparison of flight and fight response in bulls and horses. Lord, so far your lordships, my Lord, were only informed. Now your lordships have a report of experts on this. Biochemical and physiological adaptation to training, exercise and running. Summary and opinion of the committee. Now, your lordships, my Lord, kindly go through. They have gone into in-depth, my Lord, analysis is done. And, my Lord, if your lordship, my Lord, see, my Lord, say, for example, page 20, the draught bull and race bull, they are different. The breed is different. The breeding takes place separately. My Lord, the last year I am told, the best bull of this breed who participates in racing was sold for 31 lakhs. These are not, my Lord, bulls which are employed in agricultural operation or for carriage of goods. They are like race horses. They are used only as race bulls.
Yeah.
Kindly see page 44. Native breeds of bulls in Maharashtra. My Lord, all bulls, my Lord, are considered by them. My Lord, I am not going into it. And, my Lord, they decide, my Lord, that this is the category of bull which needs. And your lordships would find page 53. This is the race which takes place. Page 53.
Yeah.
Your lordship has, my Lord, the photograph.
Yeah.
The bulls compete inter se. Lord, why, my Lord, I'm showing this. Lord, Article 48A provides for, I'm sorry, 48, but not 48A. Or may I read? I'm sorry, your lordships, my Lord.
No, we have seen it. We have seen it. So actually, there will be two bulls. Actually, they
Two.
run in pairs.
Yes.
Always.
The bulls are generally in pairs.
Generally in pairs.
My Lord, therefore, my Lord, we generally say pair of bullocks. My Lord, in English also, my Lord, we rarely say bullock, pair of bullocks. My Lord, that's
So where does the pain come actually? Which part is the pain actually? What was identified in Nagaraja as causing pain?
Lord, Nagaraja doesn't unfortunately go into this aspect of the race at all. And, my Lord, I can say this, except the last para which says that Jallikattu and Maharashtra bull race is not permissible. There is no discussion on this. Please, if you don't.
They referred to it.
So they have not, my Lord, the Nagaraja judgment does not locate any pain or inevitable suffering. Lord, if your lordship would like to see para 25 of the Nagaraja, my Lord, judgment.
That's okay. We
That's
have seen that. We have seen
your
that.
lordships have seen that.
We have seen that.
So, my Lord, thereafter, my Lord, the study takes place in 2018.
Yes.
Whatever was the basis or foundation or lack of it, my Lord, in Nagaraja was removed by the state legislature.
Whose you have removed and what was the basis? What
Yes, my Lord, there was an act of parliament, act of the legislature,
Correct.
Lord, which is, my Lord, similar to Tamil Nadu.
Correct. But then what did you do to remove what was found? That's why we asked you, what is it found painful? In Nagaraja, the rate.
The Nagaraja doesn't.
Tamil Nadu, the rules have been completely changed.
Look, kindly see,
What
Nagaraja.
brought about in that?
Look, can I read Nagaraja page 25? So far as this race is concerned, there is no pain location, location of pain. I'll just allow me to read page 25, para 25. We notice, your lordship, Nagaraja. Look, can you see para page 570?
Yeah.
2014, 14/7.
Page 25. I'm sorry, page 578.
14/7. 14/7.
Some shouting and the like. That's how they say. But no, not pain. We notice in various parts of Maharashtra, your lordships are with me on that. Varied types of bullock cart race are being organized. Bailgada Chariot is a race where no person rides the cart. In such a race, at times bullocks are brought to the venue blindfolded through trucks and let free. Lord, I do not know from where, my lord, the honorable court, my lord, was pleased to, my lord, find this. Free through a ghat, either side of which spectators, large in number, assemble. Due to sudden exposure to the light after unfolding and huge noise source made by the spectators, bullocks get terrified and run in straight on the slope. But there is no slope, it's on the plain ground, number one. Number two, Lord, the bullocks are trained the way horses are trained. Your lordships have not seen the horse races, at least in the television. They are never even distracted, forget terrified. They are not even distracted. They are trained that way. Lord. The training takes throughout the year, Lord, year after year. And Lord, rules ban the slope. Lord. They are supposed to run on the Maidan, Lord, the ground. Due to sudden, many of the bullocks are tortured and whipped to make them run, and the price is decided on the basis of time taken to cover gap of approximately 300-meter distance. Races are also there where bullocks have to cover 10 kilometer and more. Lord, there is nothing to support this submission. 10 kilometers during the course of race, cruel practices like beating, twisting of tail.
Paragraph 2 of the judgment, because it was directly in issue. Because what happened was that the government of Maharashtra prohibited bullock cart races.
Correct, my lords.
That's how.
Thereafter, my lord, this was.
It is not obiter or anything like it. It is actually directly in issue.
Thereafter, my lord, the basis of that is removed.
It is not obiter.
Yes. I didn't say obiter, my lord, but these are not, my lord, the factual findings arrived at after, my lord, any assistance. I'll put it, my lord, that way.
Government of Maharashtra actually prohibited the bullock cart races.
On these grounds, yes. Para 2, your lordships are right.
Yes.
The 24th of August 2011. But it doesn't say they prohibited on the ground that there is some pain or there is some tail twisting, etc. etc. Now, my lord, even that has gone. Your lordships, my lord, are reading Nagaraja in a separate regime. I don't wish to, my lord, repeat what is already argued. Now, we have a separate regime, validity of which is in question before.
Correct. Because in the case of bull in Tamil Nadu, it's slightly different. Here, they are slim. They are actually, they are trimmed up.
That's a different breed. Would your lordships, I'm posing a question to myself. Envisage a situation that a horse which is not fit is sent for participating in the race. Nobody can. That's exactly what this is. A separate breed, separately trained, and people send it to win. We don't send it to lose. So if it doesn't want to participate, it doesn't want to participate.
Provide for it specifically.
So you will not hit it, kick it.
That's prohibited under the rules, my lord.
No, but then does it really work on the ground?
My lord, it does.
Secondly, is it
No,
like,
only, can allow me to answer this, my lord.
does it work on
Lord,
the ground? Have
Lord,
you
Lord,
tried
non-
it? Have you videographed it? How the races are run?
Yes, my lord, we have the
Without
videography.
Causing any kind of, pain.
We have the videography, my lord, but if your lordship would like to go through
Because
that
normally,
process.
even in the horse, my another brother was saying, I think you kick the horse. Some
No, my lord, kicking, my lord, every horse needs a little. My lord, well, therefore, my lord, it is unnecessary pain or something. My lord, when we, my lord, kill, we do, my lord, the people do kill with, my lord, full force. Kick, my lord, in horse racing, my lord, I don't think I need to argue on that.
That's
My lord, that's not, kick is not a cruel kick. It's an indication, a hint that now you have to start. It's like this. Not a punch, my lord. Not a punch. Punch, my lord, causes suffering.
like,
Problem, my lord. I would wish your lordships to hear me also.
that's right. We hear you.
Not in the meanwhile. Your lordship may do it after.
Once you go away, we can't ask you anything.
No, my lord.
We need to get you here.
On the lighter side, my
In
lord.
life and life.
Please don't go through it while I'm arguing. That's all I say, my lord, on the lighter side.
Otherwise, we'll not be in a position
But-
to ask you.
Yes, my lord, now I'm, my lord, submitting the written.
There's nothing, it'll be there, it'll be there. The asset, everything will be there. I think.
It is there, my lord. But, my lord, it is only, my lord, for your lordship's perusal.
Correct.
Any documents, my lord, these are all constitutional decisions signed by the President of India. My lord, I would not wish anybody else to see it. There is nothing confidential about it, but there is a sanctity about it. That's all. Now, my lord, kindly, my lord, see, my lord, this is my written submissions. I want to read one judgment.
Yes.
And your lordships may, my lord, kindly thereafter. Finally, we would observe that challenge of this nature could be avoided if at the commencement of the act it is stated that act has received the assent with regard to the repugnancy between the state law and specified central law or laws, because the legislature, whenever mentions something, it is treated to be sacrosanct unless established to be factually incorrect. Here, my lord, all the three legislations mentioned, all the three, my lord, acts mentioned in the statement of objects and reasons that it was reserved for the Honorable President and referred for the presidential assent, and the President has granted the assent. And in any case, my lord, grant of assent is not in question. This is only, my lord, respecting, my lord, your lordship's word that my files are here, and my lord, I will submit it for your lordship's perusal. There is nothing to hide from the court. But my only worry is, my lord, that this may not become a precedent, that in every case the files which are ultimately signed by the President, my lord, are called for and, my lord, are subjected to scrutiny. But your lordships can definitely look into it. But all the three acts, my lord, all the three files are here. They are original, my lords. My lords,
Karnataka,
Tamil Nadu and Maharashtra.
That's right. We'll just go through it.
My lord, your lordships can, my lord, retain it and can return it subsequently also, but there is no difficulty.
Yeah.
Because multiple ministries are involved, their opinions are taken. Once in one of the matters, the opinion of the then law officer, the learned attorney is taken. And my lord, it's thereafter, my lord, the Honorable President, my lord, one there are two presidents, my lord, because of the time gap, and all the three are signed by the Honorable President. Lord, I would only make one request. Lord, because of Lord respecting the lordships, Lord, desire, Lord, to peruse the file, Lord, we have given this. And we don't record this in the order so that it doesn't become a precedent. Your lordships are in a file judgment. I'm sorry, my lord. Lord, Lord, my respectful request is this.